That's Barry's Pond over there.
No, I don't like that name either. I shall call it the Lake of Shining Waters. Yes, that's the right name for it. I know because of the thrill. When I hit on a name that suits exactly, it gives me a thrill. Do things ever give you a thrill?
Well, it always kind of gives me a thrill to see them ugly white grubs that spade up in the cucumber beds.
I don't think that can be exactly the same kind of a thrill. Do you think it can?
Well,
there doesn't seem to be much connection between grubs and lakes of shining waters, does there?
I reckon not.
Good night, dear Lake of Shining Waters. I always say goodnight to the things I love, just as I would to people. I think they like it.
We're pretty near home now. That's Green Gables, right over...
Oh, don't tell me. Let me guess. I'm sure I'll guess right. There. The one far back from the road. That's it, isn't it?
Well, now, you guessed it. But I reckon Mrs. Spencer described it so as you could tell.
No, she didn't. Really, she didn't. But just as soon as I saw it, I felt it was home. Oh, it seems as if I must be in a dream. Do you know my arm must be black and blue from the elbow up I've pinched myself so many times today? Every little while, a horrible, sickening feeling would come over me, and I'd be so afraid it was all a dream. Then I'd pinch myself to see if it was real. But it is real, and we're nearly home. I can't wait to meet Marilla. Do you think she'll let me call her Aunt Marilla?
I can't rightly say. Well, here we are.
Oh, I can almost hear the trees talking in their sleep. What nice dreams they must have.
Marilla?
Matthew Cuthbert, who's that?
Well,
Where is the boy?
Well, there wasn't any boy. There was only her.
No boy? There must have been a boy. We sent word to Mrs. Spencer to bring a boy.
Well, she didn't. She brought her instead.
Oh.
I asked the station master, and I had to bring her home. She couldn't be left there, no matter where the mistake had come in.
Well, this is a pretty piece of business.
You don't want me. You don't want me because I'm not a boy. I might have expected it. Nobody ever did want me. I might have known it was all too beautiful to last. Nobody has ever wanted me.
Well, now, there's no need to go on so about it.
Yes, there is need. You'd go on so, too, if you were an orphan and you had to come to a place you thought was going to be home and found that they didn't want you because you weren't a boy. Oh, this is the most tragical thing that has ever happened to me.
Well, don't cry about it. We're not going to turn you out of doors tonight. I suppose you'll have to stay here until we figure out what to do. What's your name?
Will you please call me Cordelia?
Call you Cordelia? Is that your name?
No, it's not exactly my name, but I would love to be called Cordelia. It's such a perfectly elegant name.
I don't know what on earth you mean. If Cordelia isn't your name, what is?
Anne Shirley. But, oh, please do call me Cordelia. It can't matter much to you what you call me if I'm only going to be here a little while, can it? And Anne is such an unromantic name.
Unromantic fiddlesticks. Anne is a good, plain, sensible name. You've got no need to be ashamed of it.
Oh, I'm not ashamed of it. But if you call me Anne, please call me Anne spelled with an E.
What difference does it make how it's spelled?
Oh, it makes such a difference. When you hear a name pronounced, can't you always see it in your mind? I can. A-N-N looks dreadful, but A-N-N-E looks so much more distinguished. So if you'll only call me Anne, spelled with an E, I shall try to reconcile myself to not being called Cordelia.
Very well, then, Anne, spelled with an E. Can you tell us how this mistake came to be made? We sent word to Mrs. Spencer to bring us a boy. Were there no boys at the asylum?
Oh, yes, there was an abundance of them. But Mrs. Spencer said distinctly that you wanted a girl. And the matron said she thought I would do.
Did Mrs. Spencer bring anybody over besides you?
She brought Lily Jones for herself. Lily is only 5 years old, and she is very beautiful and had nut brown hair. If I was very beautiful and had nut brown hair, would you keep me?
No, we need a boy to help Matthew on the farm. A girl would be of no use to us. Take off your hat. I'll lay it on your bag on the hall table. Anne, you're not eating anything.
I can't. I'm in the depths of despair. Can you eat when you're in the depths of despair?
I've never been in the depths of despair, so I can't say.
Well, did you ever try to imagine you were in the depths of despair?
No, I didn't.
How about you, Matthew?
Well, now, I can't say as I have, no.
Then I don't think either of you can understand what it's like. It's a very uncomfortable feeling indeed. When you try to eat, a lump comes right up in your throat and you can't swallow anything. Not even if it was a chocolate caramel. I do hope you won't be offended because I can't eat. Everything's extremely nice, but I still can't eat.
I guess she's tired. Best put her to bed, Marilla.
I'd prepared a place in the kitchen chamber, but it doesn't seem quite the thing for a girl. This is the East Gable room.
Oh.
I suppose you have a nightgown?
Yes, I have two. The matron of the asylum made them for me. They're fearfully threadbare. But one can dream just as well in them as in lovely trailing ones with frills around the neck. That's one consolation.
Well, undress as quick as you can and go to bed. I'll take the candle. I don't trust you to put it out yourself. You'd likely set the place on fire. Good night.
How can you call it a good night when you know it must be the very worst night I've ever had?
Good night, just the same. This is a pretty kettle of fish. This is what comes of sending word instead of going ourselves. Richard Spencer's folks have twisted that message somehow. One of us will have to drive over and see Mrs. Spencer tomorrow, that's certain. This girl will have to be sent back to the asylum.
I suppose so.
You suppose so, don't you know it?
Well, she's a real nice little thing, Marilla. It's kind of a pity to send her back when she's so set on staying here.
Matthew Cuthbert, you don't mean to say you think we ought to keep her?
Well, now, no, I suppose not. Not exactly. I suppose we could hardly be expected to keep her.
I should say not. What good would she be to us?
We might be some good to her.
Matthew Cuthbert, I believe that child has bewitched you. I can see as plain that you want to keep her.
Well, now, she's a real interesting little thing. Should have heard her talk coming from the station.
Oh, yeah. She can talk fast enough. I saw that at once. And it's nothing in her favor, either. I don't like children who have so much to say. And I don't want an orphan girl. And if I did, she isn't the style I'd pick out. Something I don't understand about her. Nope. You've got to be sent back straight away.
I could hire a French boy to help me, and she'd be company for you.
I ain't suffering for company. And I'm not going to keep her.
Well, now, it's just as you say, of course, Marilla. I'm going to bed.